Ashley, it's a fascinating piece, and we're going to watch it just like we do Howard Stern at XM and a bunch of other tentpole talent. But can you walk us through some of the data analytics that you pulled to write the story?
Yeah, so because Spotify and other podcasting apps don't share data about how their stars are really doing and how many listeners they're reaching, I instead looked at kind of a secondary metric. So how many followers Rogan's guests received after going on the show on Twitter. These were for guests with under 500,000 followers, so kind of not the big stars like Elon Musk or Dave Chappelle. And what we found was a 50% reduction in the number of followers they could expect to receive after he went exclusive. So before, they were receiving around 4,000. After, they were receiving around 2,000.
Ashley, it's Deirdre. Spotify responded, I know they responded to you as well, by saying that Twitter as a benchmark lacks credibility because of the presence of bots and perhaps declining engagement due to the reopening of the economy and COVID. Did you account for that in the investigation? And what did you find is the main reason behind that decline? Is it something to do with the way that Spotify is putting up these podcasts?
Yeah, so I believe Twitter's been growing their user base, so I'm not totally concerned about them, like, all of a sudden Twitter having a dearth of Twitter users. But, I mean, yeah, I did my best to try to account for these things. My best way to attribute this, and again, this is just sort of my supposition, my theory, is that it's because Rogan's now exclusive. I mean, he used to be huge on YouTube, which has this very powerful algorithm and discovery mechanism, and Spotify doesn't have that. It's behind the wall. So I would imagine that Rogan lost some listeners with his move.
Ashley, when I saw, great piece, but when I looked at these numbers, I thought, well, that isn't that bad. I mean, because when you switch from broad to exclusive, I would imagine as a creator, you do expect to lose some of that broad influence, and you exchange that for money, right? I mean, that's part of what you're getting up front. And I guess we'll have to see whether that level of engagement, if it is narrower, that he is getting on Spotify and the multiple different programs and offerings from him that they have, whether that will grow over time, because that's what would make it a good investment from Spotify's perspective, right?
Yeah, so for Spotify, 50%, so we're going with 50%, let's say, made it over and 50% were lost. 50% is still good. I mean, they can sell ads against Rogan's show now. That's huge. They have that audience that maybe wasn't there before is now on Spotify. I think it just brings up a bigger question of what do these exclusives do? Is this something that this company should continue to pursue? Or is there a better strategy that might work? Like, could you put an hour of Rogan's show everywhere and then say, if you want the second hour, come to Spotify exclusively? Could you maybe, now that he's been exclusive for a while, go wide and see how that broadens Rogan's reach? I mean, I think it just makes us think about what the strategy could look like in the future.